My name is Isabella, and I'm 34 years old. I'm the founder and creative director of Bella Not, a fashion brand that's shown at New York, Paris, and Milan Fashion Weeks. Last year, my revenue was $12 million. I have 3 flagship stores and dress A-list celebrities. My designs have been featured in Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar. But 9 years ago, I was told I'd never make it in fashion. I grew up in a small town in Pennsylvania. My mom was a seamstress. She worked from home, doing alterations for neighbors, hemming pants, fixing zippers, taking in dresses. Small jobs, small money, but I loved watching her work. "Isabella, hand me the scissors," she'd say. I'd watch her transform fabric. A simple adjustment could change everything. At 10, I started making clothes for my dolls. At 13, I made my first dress. Nothing fancy, just a simple cotton dress, but it fit perfectly. I wore it to school. My teacher complimented it. "Did your mom make that?" "I made it." "You? Really? That's impressive." That's when I knew. I wanted to be a fashion designer. At 15, I was making clothes for myself and friends. Dresses, skirts, tops. I'd find fabric at thrift stores and yard sales. My mom taught me techniques. How to use a pattern. How to sew a straight seam. How to finish edges properly. I wasn't rich. We couldn't afford designer clothes, but I could make them. At 18, I applied to fashion schools. Parsons, Fit, RISD, all rejected. "Your portfolio doesn't show enough sophistication," one letter said. Another, "Your designs lack originality." I was devastated, but I didn't give up. I enrolled at the local community college for fashion merchandising, 2-year program. I learned the business side, manufacturing, marketing, retail. I graduated at 20 with an associate degree and a plan. Moved to New York City and worked my way into fashion, but the industry wasn't ready for me. At 21, I moved to New York with $1,500 and a suitcase of clothes I'd made. I had no connections, no internships, no fashion school pedigree, just passion and determination. I remember the bus ride from Pennsylvania to Port Authority, 8 hours. I stared out the window, clutching my portfolio. Inside were sketches, photos of pieces I'd made, fabric samples, everything I'd worked on for 3 years. My mom had cried when I left. "Isabella, New York is expensive. Are you sure?" "I'm sure, Mom. This is my dream." "Then go chase it, mija." I arrived in Manhattan on a Tuesday afternoon. The city was overwhelming. Tall buildings, crowds, noise, but also energy, possibility. This was where fashion happened. This was where dreams came true. I'd found a sublet in Brooklyn through Craigslist. A tiny room in a 4-bedroom apartment in Bushwick, $450 a month. My roommates were artists, musicians, actors, all chasing their dreams too. My room was barely big enough for a twin bed and a desk. But it was mine. And it was in New York. I applied to every fashion brand, magazine, and PR firm I could find. Over 100 applications in my first 2 weeks. Most never responded. The few who did said, "We're looking for candidates from top fashion schools." I needed money. I got a job at a coffee shop in Soho, $6 an hour plus tips. I worked the morning shift, 5 a.m. to 1 p.m., so I could spend afternoons trying to network. The coffee shop was near several fashion offices. I'd see industry people come in, stylists, editors, PR reps. I'd try to strike up conversations while making their lattes. "Are you in fashion?" I'd ask. "Yes, I'm a designer. Would you look at my portfolio?" They'd smile uncomfortably. Take their coffee. Leave quickly. After a month, my manager pulled me aside. "Isabella, you can't solicit customers. Just make the coffee." I stopped asking, but I kept watching, learning, observing what they wore, what they talked about, what brands they mentioned. At night, I'd go to fashion events, gallery openings, industry parties, anything free or cheap. I'd find event listings online, crash them, anywhere I could meet people. I'd introduce myself. "Hi, I'm Isabella. I'm a fashion designer." "Which school did you go to?" "Community college in Pennsylvania." They'd smile politely and walk away. Or they'd say, "Oh, that's nice. Good luck." I wasn't one of them. I didn't go to Parsons. I didn't intern at Marc Jacobs. I didn't have a trust fund or industry parents. I was nobody, but I kept showing up. At 22, I sent my portfolio to 50 fashion internships. all unpaid. I was willing to work for free just to get in the door. 47 never responded. 3 said, "We filled our internship positions." I was running out of money. My coffee shop salary barely covered rent and food. I couldn't afford new clothes. I wore pieces I'd made, but they were starting to look worn. My mom would call every week. "Mija, are you eating enough?" "Yes, Mom. Are you safe?" "Yes, Mom. Maybe you should come home. I can help you find work here." I'm not giving up. At 23, I finally got my first fashion job. Assistant to a stylist named Chen. I found the listing on a fashion job board. Seeking assistant for editorial and celebrity styling. Fashion degree preferred but not required. 8 an hour. I applied immediately. Marcus interviewed me the next day in his studio, a converted loft in the garment district. "You went to community college?" he said, looking at my resume. "Yes. I couldn't afford fashion school, but I've been making clothes since I was 10. I understand construction, fabrication, silhouettes. Can you steam?" "Yes." "Can you organize a rack?" "Yes." "Can you work 12-hour days?" "Yes." "You're hired." Start Monday. I started Monday. Marcus was 35, talented but demanding. He'd worked with mid-level celebrities and editorial shoots for smaller magazines. He was trying to break into the big leagues. Vogue, W, major celebrities. My job was everything. Fetch coffee, steam clothes, organize racks by designer, color, season, silhouette, whatever Marcus wanted. Return pieces to showrooms, track down specific items, call PR firms, beg for samples. "Isabella, this rack is a mess. Organize it by color. No, by designer. No, by season. Figure it out." I worked 12-hour days, sometimes longer. I'd arrive at 8 a.m. and leave at 10 p.m. The pay was terrible. $8 an hour, no overtime, no benefits. But I was in the industry. I was learning. I learned how stylists worked with designers, magazines, and celebrities. I learned what made an outfit work, what trends were coming, what the industry valued, which PR firms were helpful, which designers were difficult, which editors had real power. Marcus would send me to showrooms to pull pieces for shoots. Designer showrooms, high-end brands. I'd walk in wearing my own clothes, pieces I'd made, and the PR reps would look at me like I didn't belong. "I'm here to pull pieces for Marcus Chen." "Marcus? For which shoot?" "Elle Editorial. Spring trends." They'd let me in. Reluctantly. Watch me closely. Make sure I didn't damage anything. I'd look at the clothes, study the construction, the fabrics, the details, learn. But I wanted more. I wanted to design. At night, I'd go back to my tiny Brooklyn apartment and sketch. I'd make clothes on weekends. I'd buy fabric from the garment district, remnants, discounted materials, end-of-bolt pieces. I'd turn them into dresses, tops, skirts. I started an Instagram account, Isabella Not a Design. I'd post photos of my work. My followers were mostly friends and family at first. 20 followers, 50, 100. But slowly, strangers started following. People who liked my aesthetic, my use of color, my silhouettes. At 24, Marcus sent me to assist on a celebrity styling for a red carpet event. A B-list actress for a movie premiere, not a huge star, but it was a real red carpet. I watched Marcus work. He pulled 5 options, tried them on the actress, adjusted, accessorized, made decisions. The actress chose a black gown, classic, safe, boring. After she left to get her hair done, Marcus looked stressed. "I don't know. It's too safe. She needs something memorable." "What about structure?" I said. "Something with an interesting shoulder or neckline?" Marcus looked at me. "You have an idea?" "There's a designer I've been following, emerging. They have this dress with an asymmetric neckline and... Show me." I pulled it up on my phone. A midnight blue dress, structured, architectural, modern. Marcus looked at it. "That's good. Call the PR. See if we can get it. We got it." The actress wore it. The photos were great. The next day, fashion blogs called it one of the best looks of the night. Marcus didn't credit me. But I didn't care. I'd contributed. I was learning. At 25, I made a dress for a friend's wedding. Simple. Elegant. Ivory silk with hand-embroidered details at the neckline. I spent 3 weeks on it. hand-sewing every detail. She posted photos on Instagram after the wedding, wearing this incredible custom dress by my talented friend Isabella design. A fashion blogger with 10,000 followers saw it and messaged me, "Where did you get that dress?" "I made it. Can you make one for me?" "I have an event next month." That was my first real sale. $500. I spent 3 weeks making it. Custom measurements, custom fabric, custom everything. She wore it to a fashion event, posted photos, tagged me. Her followers started messaging me. "Can you make this?" "How much for a custom dress?" "Do you do menswear?" I started taking custom orders. I'd work at Marcus's studio during the day, then come home and sew at night. Weekends were for clients. Measurements, fittings, finishing pieces. The money was small. $500 here, $800 there, but it was my money. For my designs. At 26, I had 2,000 Instagram followers. I was making about $30,000 a year between Marcus's salary and custom pieces. Not much in New York. I was still living in that tiny Bushwick apartment, still riding the subway, still eating ramen more nights than I wanted to admit. But I was surviving. And I was building something. At 27, Marcus got a big opportunity. A major celebrity, A-list, red carpet for the Oscars. He was stressed. "Isabella, this is huge. I need to pull everything. Every designer, every option. This has to be perfect." We spent 2 weeks preparing. I pulled samples from 50 designers. High-end, couture, one-of-a-kind pieces. The fitting was at the celebrity's house in Los Angeles. Marcus flew out. I stayed in New York to handle other clients and return samples. The night of the Oscars, I watched on TV. The celebrity walked the red carpet in a stunning gold gown. It was perfect, elegant, memorable. The next day, fashion media went crazy. Best dressed of the night. Stunning Oscars look. Every outlet featured it. Marcus's career exploded. Vogue called, If magazine called, more A-list celebrities wanted him. His rates tripled. His studio expanded. He hired more assistants, but my salary stayed the same. $8 an hour. No raise, no promotion, no credit for any of the work I did. I realized I'd never be more than an assistant in someone else's vision. If I wanted to succeed, I needed my own brand. At 27, I made a decision. I was going to launch Bella Notte, my own fashion brand. I'd saved $12,000 from custom orders. It wasn't much, but it was a start. I decided it was time. I was going to launch my own brand. At 29, I had a business plan. A collection, a brand name, Bella Notte. Beautiful night in Italian, a nod to my heritage. I'd saved $12,000. I'd designed 12 pieces, evening wear, cocktail dresses, statement pieces. I had lookbook photos, a website, social media accounts, but I needed press. I needed a fashion magazine to feature my work. I targeted Mode magazine, a mid-level fashion publication. Not Vogue, but respectable. They had a section called Emerging Designers, where they featured new brands. I emailed the fashion editor, Victoria Chen. No response. I emailed again. Nothing. I called. Her assistant said, "Victoria doesn't take unsolicited submissions." I didn't give up. I found out where Victoria would be, a fashion event at a gallery in Chelsea. I bought a ticket, $50 I couldn't afford, and went. I brought my portfolio. Photos of my designs, fabric samples, a business card. I waited for the right moment. After the presentation, during cocktails, I approached her. "Excuse me, Victoria. I'm Isabella. I'm a fashion designer. I'd love to show you my work for your Emerging Designers section." She turned, looked at me, then looked at my outfit. I was wearing one of my own designs, a black dress with asymmetric hem and structured shoulders. I thought I looked professional, fashion-forward, confident. Victoria's expression was cold. "You made that?" "Yes." She looked me up and down. Like I was a mess. I can tell. I felt my face flush. "I have a portfolio." "Let me be very clear," she interrupted. "You're not stylish enough to have your own brand. You don't understand fashion. You look like you're trying too hard. Real fashion designers have an innate sense of style. You don't have it." The people around us stopped talking, listening. "I went to community college," I said. "But I've been designing for 10 years. Community college?" She laughed. "That explains it. Fashion is about pedigree. about training, about understanding the industry. You can't just decide to be a designer because you know how to use a sewing machine. But your work is amateur. I can see it from here. Save yourself the embarrassment and find a different career. She walked away, left me standing there, humiliated. People stared. Some looked sympathetic. Most looked away. Embarrassed for me, I left the event. Walked to the subway. Cried the entire train ride home. That night, I almost quit. Victoria's words echoed in my head. You're not stylish enough. You don't understand fashion. Amateur. I sat in my apartment, staring at my portfolio, at the pieces I'd made. Were they really amateur? Was she right? I called my mom. Mija, what's wrong? I told her everything. The gallery. Victoria. The humiliation. My mom was quiet for a moment. Then she said, Isabella, do you remember when you were 13? You made that first dress. Your teacher loved it. You came home so proud. Yes? And do you remember high school? When those girls made fun of your clothes because they weren't from the mall? Yes. What did you do? I kept making clothes. Exactly. Because you didn't make clothes for them. You made clothes because you loved it. Because it made you happy. Because you were good at it. She paused. Victoria Chen doesn't get to decide if you're good enough. Only you decide that. And your customers decide that. I cried. Then I got angry. She was wrong. I knew she was wrong. My designs were good. My clients loved them. I just needed to prove it. But the next morning, I woke up with clarity. I realized something. I didn't need Mode magazine. I didn't need Victoria Chen. I needed customers. And in 2018, there was a way to reach them directly. Social media. I'd been posting on Instagram casually, a few times a week, photos of my work. But I wasn't strategic. I wasn't treating it like a business. That changed. I studied successful fashion brands on Instagram. What they posted. How often. What kind of content got engagement. I researched hashtags, algorithms, best posting times. I created a content strategy. I'd post every single day, sometimes twice a day. Different types of content. Monday, new design reveals. Tuesday, behind the scenes, sketching, pattern making. Wednesday, client photos, Bella Notte in the wild. Thursday, fabric and textile close-ups. Friday, Fashion Friday, styling tips. Saturday, weekend inspiration, mood boards, color palettes. Sunday, personal story, my journey, struggles, wins. I engaged with my followers obsessively, responded to every comment, every DM, asked questions, built relationships. What colors do you love for spring? What event do you need a dress for? What's your biggest fashion struggle? People responded. They felt seen, heard, valued. At 29, I had 5,000 followers. At 30, I had 15,000. My custom orders increased. I was making $60,000 a year. Still not much, but growing. I quit working for Marcus. It was time. He was upset. Isabella, you're making a mistake. The industry is hard. You need connections. I'm building my own connections. Through Instagram, that's not real fashion. We'll see. I rented a small studio space in Brooklyn, 300 square feet. One room, a cutting table, 2 sewing machines, a rack for fabrics, a desk. But it was mine. My studio. My space. My brand. I invested everything back into the business. Better fabrics. I started buying from better suppliers. Not cheap polyester. Real silk, Italian wool, French lace. More expensive, but higher quality. Better photography. I hired a photographer friend. We did proper photo shoots. Professional lighting, models, styling, real lookbook images, better website. I paid a designer to create a professional e-commerce site. Clean, minimalist, easy to navigate. At 31, I made a big decision. I was going to launch my first ready-to-wear collection, not custom orders, actual pieces, in standard sizes, that customers could buy immediately. It was risky. Custom orders were safe. I made pieces after I got paid. No inventory risk, no upfront cost. But ready-to-wear was scalable. I could make multiple pieces in advance, sell them quickly, reach more customers. I designed 20 pieces, evening wear and cocktail dresses. My aesthetic, bold colors, structured silhouettes, unexpected details. Pieces that made women feel powerful and beautiful. I used all my savings, $25,000, to manufacture the collection. I found a small factory in Brooklyn that would do small runs. They made 10 pieces of each design, 200 pieces total. I launched in April, spring collection. I sent pieces to micro-influencers, people with 10 to 50,000 followers. Would you wear this to your next event? Tag me if you post. Many said yes, they posted. Tagged me. Their followers asked where to buy. I promoted the collection heavily on Instagram. Stories, posts, reels. Every day for 3 weeks. The collection sold out in 6 weeks. $70,000 in revenue. After costs, I made $30,000 in profit. I immediately reinvested. Made more pieces, expanded sizes, added new designs. Instagram kept growing. Influencers kept wearing my pieces. Word spread. At 32, a celebrity stylist discovered my work through Instagram. Her name was Rachel Kim. She styled B and C-list celebrities. Not A-listers yet, but working her way up. She DM'd me. Your designs are incredible. Can I pull pieces for a client? Yes. Which client? I can't say yet, but it's for a film premiere. Major event. She pulled 3 gowns. A week later, she messaged, "We're going with the emerald one. I'll send you photos after the event." The premiere was for a Netflix film. The actress, a rising star, not yet famous, but getting there, wore my emerald gown on the red carpet. She posted on Instagram, wearing a Bellanata design, obsessed with this gown. My Instagram exploded. 30,000 new followers in a week. My website crashed from traffic. Orders flooded in. I couldn't keep up. I hired 3 seamstresses, rented a bigger studio, launched a second collection. Revenue that year, $400,000. I was profitable. I was growing. I was succeeding. And I hadn't needed Mode magazine. I hadn't needed Victoria Chen. I'd done it myself. At 33, I got an email that changed everything. From pedigree and YFW Productions. Subject: Emerging Designer Showcase Opportunity. Dear Isabella, we've been following Bellanata on Instagram and are impressed by your work. We have an opening in our Emerging Designers Showcase at New York Fashion Week this September. The showcase features 10 up-and-coming designers who haven't shown at Fashion Week before. Shows are 12 minutes. 25-30 looks. Spring Studios venue. Friday, September 14th, 6 p.m. slot. If you're interested, please respond by Friday with your preliminary collection concept. Best, Hannah Rodriguez. YFW Productions. I read the email 3 times. Then I screamed. Then I cried. Then I screamed again. New York Fashion Week. The dream. The goal I'd been working toward for 12 years. I called my mom immediately. Mija, oh my God, I'm so proud of you. Mom, I don't know if I can do this. It's so expensive. Models, hair, makeup, production, music. I'd need at least $50,000. Isabella, stop. You've been working toward this your entire life. You'll figure it out. You always do. She was right. I would figure it out. I responded to the email within an hour. Yes, absolutely yes. I had 3 months to prepare. First, the collection. I needed 25-30 pieces. My best work, a cohesive vision. A story. I decided on a theme. Metamorphosis. The transformation from struggle to success. From darkness to light. The collection would start with darker colors. Deep blues, blacks, grays, and gradually transition to vibrant colors. Emerald, gold, crimson, white. The silhouettes would evolve too. Starting structured and constrained, then becoming more fluid and free. I spent 2 weeks sketching. 50 designs. I narrowed it to 27 pieces. Evening gowns, cocktail dresses, statement coats, dramatic pieces that would photograph well and create impact on the runway. Second, manufacturing. I needed these pieces made, fast and perfect. I went back to my Brooklyn factory. I need 27 pieces, custom, hand-finished details. 6 weeks, the owner, Mr. Park, looked at my sketches. Isabella, this is a lot of work. Very detailed. It'll be expensive. How much? $35,000. Maybe 40. I'd saved 60,000. It would take almost everything. But this was the opportunity. Let's do it. We started production immediately. I was at the factory every day, overseeing, checking quality, adjusting. Some pieces weren't working. We'd remake them, adjust patterns, change fabrics. It was stressful, expensive, exhausting. Third, the team. I needed models, hair, makeup, music, choreography. I reached out to modeling agencies, explained I was an emerging designer, low budget, but it was Fashion Week, real runway experience. Most agencies wanted thousands per model. I couldn't afford that. I found a solution. New models, girls who were just starting, building their books. They'd work for less, sometimes even free, for the Fashion Week credit. I cast 15 models. A diverse group, different heights, different body types, different ethnicities, all beautiful, all professional hair and makeup. I contacted beauty schools, students who were almost graduated, who wanted portfolio work. We agreed on a deal. They'd do hair and makeup for free. I'd credit them, give them photos, promote them on my Instagram music. I hired a DJ friend. $200. He created a custom mix, electronic, dramatic, building intensity as the show progressed. Choreography. I did it myself. I watched hundreds of Fashion Week videos, studied pacing, timing, exits, entrances. The show needed to be exactly 12 minutes. Not 11, not 13, exactly 12. I timed everything. Each look would be on the runway for 25-30 seconds. Quick, impactful. Fourth, promotion. I needed people to come. Press, buyers, influencers, industry professionals. I created a press list. Every fashion publication, Vogue, Elle, W. Harper's Bazaar, InStyle, Glamour, smaller blogs, niche publications. I sent personalized emails to editors and writers. Most didn't respond. Some said they'd try to attend. No promises. I reached out to buyers from department stores and boutiques, invited them personally. Some expressed interest. I invited every influencer I'd ever worked with, every person who'd worn my pieces, every customer who'd bought from me. I sent physical invitations, beautiful cards, handwritten notes. I created an Instagram campaign, countdown posts, behind-the-scenes content, sneak peeks of pieces, building anticipation. My following had grown to 50,000 by August. Every post was getting thousands of likes, hundreds of comments. The night before the show, I couldn't sleep. I was terrified. What if no one came? What if the press hated it? What if Victoria Chen showed up and laughed? What if I failed publicly, in front of the entire industry? But I also felt something else, pride. I'd made it here, against all odds. No fashion school, no connections, no wealthy parents, just hard work and determination. The next evening, September 14th, I arrived at Spring Studios at 3 p.m., 3 hours before the show. Backstage was chaos. Models arriving, hair and makeup setting up, racks of clothes, accessories, shoes. My team was there, my seamstresses, my assistants, everyone working together. I walked the runway one last time, empty, quiet. In a few hours it would be full of people, judging my work, deciding my future. At 5 p.m., I checked the seating chart. 350 seats. I peeked through the curtain. People were arriving. Lots of people. The seats were filling. Industry professionals, buyers, press, influencers, bloggers, my loyal customers. People I'd invited, people I didn't know, and then I saw her. 3rd row, center, Victoria Chen, from Mode magazine. My heart stopped. She was here. The woman who told me I wasn't stylish enough. Who said I didn't understand fashion. She was here to see me show at New York Fashion Week. I went backstage, checked on the models. Final adjustments, touch-ups, encouragement. You all look incredible. Walk with confidence. Own the runway. Have fun. At 6 p.m., the lights went down. The music started. A low pulsing beat. Building tension. The first model walked out. Look 1. A structured black coat dress. Severe. Powerful. She walked. Paused at the end. Turned. The audience watched. Silent. Focused. Look 2. Look 3. Dark pieces. Architectural. The music built. The pace increased. Look 10. The transition. Colors started appearing. Deep blue, emerald green. The silhouette softened slightly. More feminine, more fluid. Look 15. The midpoint. A crimson gown. Dramatic. Bold. The audience reacted. I could hear it backstage. Appreciation. Excitement. Look 20. The finale was approaching. Gold. White. Bright colors. Celebratory. Triumphant. The music was soaring now. Look 27. The finale piece. A dramatic white gown with a 6-foot train. Hand embroidered with gold thread. The model walked out. The train flowed behind her. Stunning. The audience erupted. Applause, cheers. People were standing. All the models walked out again. Lined the runway. And then my assistant gestured, "Go." It was my turn. The designer's bow. I walked onto the runway. My models surrounded me. The applause was deafening. I looked at the audience. Hundreds of people, standing, clapping, for me. For my work, I saw my team, crying, smiling. I saw customers I recognized. I saw industry professionals nodding approval, and I saw Victoria, sitting, clapping politely. Her expression unreadable. I bowed. Took it all in. This moment. This validation. This achievement. 12 years of work. Rejection. Struggle. Doubt. All led to this. New York Fashion Week. I did it. The lights came up. The show was over. I walked backstage. And then the chaos began. After Fashion Week, everything changed. Backstage was mobbed. Buyers wanted to place orders. Press wanted interviews. Influencers wanted photos with me in the pieces. A buyer from Nordstrom approached. "Isabella, I'm Sarah from Nordstrom Contemporary Buying. That collection was stunning. We'd love to carry Bellinata in 50 stores. 50 stores. Nordstrom. I tried to stay calm. That would be amazing. Let me have my team reach out. I didn't have a team, but I would. A fashion editor from InStyle. Can we do a feature on you? Designer to watch for our November issue? Yes, absolutely. An influencer with 2 million followers. Can I get that emerald gown for an event next month? Of course. DM me your measurements. For 2 hours, I talked to people, exchanged business cards, made connections. This was what I'd been working toward. And then Victoria appeared. She stood at the edge of the crowd, waiting. When I finally had a moment alone, she approached. "Isabella, congratulations. That was impressive." I looked at her. The woman who told me I wasn't stylish enough. Who said I didn't understand fashion? Who humiliated me 4 years ago? "Thank you," I said coolly. "I'd love to feature your collection in Mode magazine." "Our emerging designers section?" I smiled. "That section is for emerging designers. I just showed at New York Fashion Week with 300 people in attendance and Nordstrom placing orders. I'm not emerging anymore." Her smile faltered. "Right, well, perhaps a feature article? Full spread, 5 pages. You'd be on the cover." 4 years ago, I would have killed for that opportunity. Mode magazine cover, my ultimate goal. Now, I didn't need it. "I'll have my publicist reach out," I said. "We'll see if Mode magazine fits with our press strategy." I didn't have a publicist, but I would, soon. Victoria's expression tightened. She knew what I was doing. Paying her back for her dismissal. Of course. Well, congratulations again. She left, and I stood there, feeling something I hadn't felt in years, vindicated. Over the next 2 weeks, orders poured in. Nordstrom, 50 stores. Initial order, $200,000. Neiman Marcus, 20 stores. Initial order, $80,000. Small boutiques across the country, another 100,000 combined. Online orders through my website, exploding. My Instagram had jumped from 50,000 followers to 200,000 after Fashion Week. Every post got tens of thousands of likes. Celebrity stylists reached out constantly. Can I pull pieces? Do you have anything in red? My client needs a gown for the AMAs. I hired help immediately. A business manager to handle contracts and finances, a production manager to oversee manufacturing and inventory, an assistant to help with daily operations, a social media manager to handle content, a publicist to manage press. I was building a real company. With employees, systems, structure. Revenue that year, $2 million. But I needed more space. My Brooklyn studio wasn't big enough. I needed a flagship store, a real presence. At 34, I signed a lease for a 1,200 square foot space in Soho. Prime location, Spring Street, high foot traffic, expensive, $15,000 a month, but worth it. I worked with a designer to create the perfect space. Minimalist, elegant, white walls, marble floors, gold fixtures. My designs displayed like art, a private fitting room, a small VIP lounge for celebrity clients. The store opened in March. I threw a launch party. 300 guests, fashion industry, press, celebrities, influencers, my loyal customers. The space was packed, champagne flowing, my pieces on display, people shopping, trying things on, buying. Victoria Chen came. Of course she did. She wrote about the opening for Mode magazine. Isabella's Soho flagship is a testament to her meteoric rise in fashion. The space is as elegant as her designs. The article was glowing, positive, complimentary. I read it and felt nothing. 4 years ago, this would have meant everything. Now, it was just another article. In the first month, the Soho store did $300,000 in sales. The space paid for itself immediately. At 34, I showed my second collection at New York Fashion Week. This time, not in the Emerging Designers Showcase. I had my own show, prime slot, bigger venue, more press. The collection was reviewed by Vogue, Elle, and Harper's Bazaar, all positive. Vogue called it a masterclass in modern elegance. Elle. Isabella is redefining American evening wear. Harper's Bazaar. The most exciting new voice in fashion. I dressed celebrities for major events. The Oscars, the Met Gala, the Grammys, red carpets around the world. Every time a celebrity wore Bella Notte, my Instagram would explode. More followers, more orders, more recognition. Revenue that year, $6 million. I opened a second store in Los Angeles, a third in Miami. I hired 50 employees, designers, seamstresses, sales associates, a marketing team, operations, finance. Bella Notte wasn't just me anymore. It was a company, a brand, a movement, and Victoria Chen. She was still the fashion editor at Mode magazine. Same job, same title. 9 years later, she emailed me regularly now, asking for interviews, asking for early access to collections, asking if I'd advertise in the magazine. Sometimes I responded. Sometimes I didn't, but I never forgot what she said. Last month, Mode magazine held their annual fashion awards. They were honoring Breakout Designer of the Decade. They asked if I'd accept the award. I said yes. The ceremony was at Cipriani. Black tie. The entire fashion industry was there. Editors, designers, celebrities, influencers. I wore one of my own designs. A custom white gown with gold embroidery. Hand-beaded, dramatic, elegant. When they announced my name, the room stood. Applause, cheers. I walked to the stage. Accepted the trophy, looked out at the audience. Victoria Chen was in the front row. Clapping, smiling, I gave my speech. Thank you for this incredible honor. 9 years ago, I came to New York with a dream and a suitcase. I had no connections, no fashion school degree, just passion and determination. I was told I wasn't stylish enough, that I didn't understand fashion, that I should find a different career. The room went quiet. People knew what I was referring to, but I didn't listen. Because fashion isn't about where you went to school. It's not about pedigree or connections. It's about vision, about hard work, about believing in yourself when no one else does. To everyone who's been told they're not good enough, prove them wrong. The best revenge is success. The room erupted. Standing ovation. Victoria's smile was frozen. She clapped. But her eyes weren't smiling. After the ceremony, she approached me. Isabella, that speech was powerful. Really inspiring. Thank you, Victoria. I hope you're not still upset about our first meeting. I was just being honest. You've come so far since then. I smiled. You're right, I have. And you're still at the same magazine doing the same job. Strange how things work out. Her smile faded. Well, I'm happy for your success. Thank you. By the way, Mode magazine reached out about advertising. We've decided to focus our budget on publications with stronger circulation. But good luck with your upcoming issue. I walked away, left her standing there, the same way she'd left me 9 years ago. I'm 34 now. Bella Notte is one of the fastest growing fashion brands in America. We're expanding internationally, opening stores in London and Tokyo. I'm designing a collaboration with a major athletic brand. I'm working on a scholarship fund for fashion students from non-traditional backgrounds. Students who couldn't afford fashion school, who were told they weren't good enough. Because I remember what it's like to be dismissed, to be told you don't belong. Victoria Chen still works at Mode magazine, still the fashion editor. She's been there for 14 years. No promotion, no change. She emails me every few months, asking for interviews, asking for features, asking if I'll attend their events. Sometimes I say yes. Sometimes I don't respond, but I never forget what she said. And neither does she. Because every time she sees my name in Vogue, or sees a celebrity wearing my designs on the red carpet, or walks past one of my stores, she's reminded she was wrong. And I was right. The girl she dismissed as not stylish enough is now one of the most influential designers in fashion. And the editor who tried to end my career before it started, still doing the same job she was doing 9 years ago. Game over. I won.